Hi everyone! With 2 days left to Christmas, I feel like we need to do a pet pairing that is a little bit more Christmas themed. So that is what I'm going to do today with you. We're going to attempt a look that is just a little bit more in the Christmas spirit, shall we say. I am grabbing my Selenite Glow Lust as usual. And since I'm applying Glow Lust now, I wanted to share an experience with you. So a couple of days ago, Alice was visiting, my good friend Alice from Alice's Beauty Madness. It cannot be that you've been around my channel and you've never heard of Alice, but if you haven't, I'll link her channel down below. We have become really good friends since we first met each other on YouTube, and we hang out privately. We have also done collabs, both in person as well as just virtually. You are actually about to see a collab video that we did in person together in the coming few days as soon as I have finished it, editing it and uploading it. It's a somewhat longer video, so I think this is going to go up first, this look. Also because, you know, if you're going to try to replicate it for Christmas, I need to put this up within the next day or so. But this whole long-winded ramble was for me to mention that Alice purchased the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless filter, which is a similar type product. It is a liquid luminizer, and I had the opportunity to try hers, which is very similar shade to Selenite, with the exception that it's just a little bit warmer. And I found out that I still prefer the way Glow Lust looks on my skin for the purpose that I use it for. Alice prefers to use these liquid luminizers as actual like cheekbone highlighters, and you have seen that the way I apply Glow Lust is more like an illuminator underneath my eyes to like plump and hydrate. And the Charlotte Tilbury product didn't do as good of a job in neither plumping nor hydrating nor really illuminating underneath my eyes. I feel like it set a little bit more, and it looked very nice. I feel like it blurred the skin a little bit, but I don't think that it did what I would like it to do, which is really be half skincare underneath my eyes. And nothing has ever really had the same effect on me as Glow Lust. Now that I have had the opportunity to try similar type products such as Strobe by MAC, and I have to say I think maybe in terms of like hydrating qualities, Strobe by MAC may even still be more hydrating to me than the Charlotte Tilbury product. But of course you have to remember the Charlotte Tilbury product is not really meant to be used, well, it's meant to be used any way you want it, but I think most people would probably either mix it in with their foundation or use it as a cheekbone highlighter, in which case I think the formula is maybe a bit more appropriate for that, because it will probably not oil up as quickly as I would assume Glow Lust would. I'm taking my Dior Backstage foundation now. I've never actually tried to put Glow Lust all over my face underneath foundation, or actually mix it in with my foundation. One of the reasons also being that all of my foundations are very liquid formulas and are already relatively sheer, so they don't really need extra shearing. And also because I'm a little afraid that my skin is still too oily for me to be able to use something like the Auric Glow Lust as an illuminator all over my face. I know some people who do that. Maybe those people have much drier skin than I do. I don't know that I have as dry of a skin type, which is why I've never dared to try Auric this way. Maybe I should, just so I can report to you once how it performs. Let's say that we're going for a more long-lasting look than the usual, which is why I'm going to now be taking my Pat McGrath Labs loose finishing powder, and I'm going to apply that all over my face in order to set my foundation, because this powder has the quality of literally blurring my skin. So if you want to go for like a super polished look where your skin looks really blurred and a little bit mattified, then this powder is going to do the job. For bronzer, I want to pull out an old new product, new for me, old for what it actually is. This is the Nabla Skin Bronzing Powder in the shade Dune. I inherited this from Alice because I've always wanted to have a bronzer product in this formula, because the skin glazing formula from Nabla is, in my opinion, one of the best face powder products out there. It's not even a powder, it's more like your classic baked gelée, but it is outstanding. And I have blushes, I have highlighters. Well, blushes, I only have that one blush, but I have 2 highlighters, and I've always wanted to have this bronzer. But I thought before I get myself a new bronzer, I really need to get rid of some of the ones that I already have. And I have actually decluttered 2 bronzers. I'm not going to name them because I think I'm going to still film the rest of my declutter. I already posted my eyeshadow palette declutter, but I'm planning on doing a declutter of the rest of my makeup, and there are 2 bronzers there that are going to be getting out of my collection. And if I'm being honest with you, I'm getting a little bit done with the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, which I'm trying to pan and then only declutter. But I had decided that if I get rid of at least 1 bronzer this year, I'm allowed to get this one. Now you could say that if I declutter the other 2 bronzers, I'm really cheating because I didn't finish anything up, but I've used the other bronzers a lot and they're just not my kind of textures anymore, because both of these bronzers are in a very matte finish and I just don't enjoy matte products on my skin as much anymore. And something like the skin glazing is a powder, but not really a powder. So all of this rambling was for me to open with, I finally got Dune by Nabla, and it is the bronzer that I'm going to be using right now. I already really like it. I already used it once when Alice was here, and I think it's a really good undertone for me. It has, I feel like, maybe slightly coppery red undertones. The more you apply from it, I feel like the more red copper it becomes, at least on my skin tone. And of course we're talking about the skin glazing formula, so it looks pretty impeccable on the skin. It's like almost undetectable. You cannot tell that there is a powder there. It is so beautiful. For blush today, I'm going to grab the gorgeous and incredibly vibrant Electric Bloom from Pat McGrath. This is really going to liven up my complexion even more, and I think it's going to fit the look that I am trying to achieve pretty well. I have to be extremely careful when I apply this blush, obviously, because look how bright that is. For highlighter, I'm going to take an oldie but a goodie, my Trio Skin Fetish highlighter from Pat McGrath Labs, which I feel like would be the perfect like holiday type highlighter, because all of these powders have a tiny bit of sparkle to them, so they look very festive on the skin without really accentuating any sort of texture. And as you can see, I just tapped in all 3 of them because that's so much fun. And what you achieve by mixing all the 3 powders together is that you get a little bit of like peachy pink tones on your skin. Depending of course on which one you apply more of, you will get a different hue, but overall if you mix the 3 of them, you're not getting too gold of a highlight, you're not getting too pink of a highlight, you're getting a very nice happy medium. As usual, in order to melt all the powders on my face, and because I think the finishing powder from Pat really mattified my skin, I'm going to take a little bit of my Fix Plus, apply it on my little sponge here from Real Techniques, and I'm gently going to dab, especially here around my cheekbones, so that they start to look a little bit more dewy. And I'm also going to dab a little bit here, the rest of my face. And now we shall proceed to the eyes. The actual eye look I don't think is going to be something super complicated. I want to go for the types of looks that I've seen on Pat's Instagram, which are like one eyeshadow with a lot of sparkle, like almost going up to your eyebrow, very editorial. And I feel like this is the kind of look that I would like to go for today. And because we are getting in the Christmas spirit, we are going to do gold eyeshadow and red lipstick. And to me, there is only one gold eyeshadow in Pat's collection. There are numerous golds in Pat's collection, but the gold to rule them all, in my personal opinion, is this beautiful gold here from the Divine Rose 2 palette. I really enjoy everything about this eyeshadow. The formula, the undertone, the way it looks on the eyes, everything about it, which is why this is the eyeshadow that we're going to use for our editorial look today. I'm going to just apply it all over my lid, and I'm using my Sonia G Worker Pro brush for that. And I'm actually also going to use the same brush and the same eyeshadow to blend through my crease. I don't know that that's a look all of you want to go for. If you don't want to, you can always throw in a matte in there. But the kind of look that I want to go for today is something, you know, like I said, a little bit more glitzy, editorial, and not too everyday. I think for everyday you could throw something matte in the crease and put this on the lid and call it a day. But I think for the look I want to achieve today, that is not enough. And the first layer I'm just applying like this with the brush because that just gives me a little bit more control, and I think like this when it's dry you can still blend it out relatively easily. Now the next step is going to be something that you've never seen me do before, and probably on the day-to-day I would never do, but because like I said we're going for that eyelid to eyebrow, very editorial sparkly look, I'm actually going to take one of the highlighters from the trio that I just used on my face, and I'm going to use a small fluffy brush like this one to blend out the edges and highlight underneath the brow bone. And then I'm going to use my finger to soften it a little bit, but you can see we're going for like a very unusual type of look for this channel. Next I'm just going to use my finger, go into that gold shade again from the Divine Rose 2 palette, and I'm just going to build up the opacity on my lids, again dry, without any sort of glitter glue, because I want to apply something else over glitter glue later. So now I just want to intensify that beautiful golden base. And again, I'm just using my finger and kind of like tapping it everywhere. Like I said, we're going for that more editorial type of look, so you can be a little bit more messy with your application. Next I'm going to take the Intensifies wand from Pat McGrath, which is her glitter glue type product, and I'm going to just apply a tiny bit of this using my finger here onto my lids as a base for a little bit of glitter that I would like to apply over top of that. I'm also going to apply a little bit of the wand into my inner corners because I want to apply glitter there as well. And when it comes to a sophisticated, elegant glitter shade from Pat McGrath, I think she takes the cake. This Astral here from the iconic Illumination quad is, I feel like, the most elegant glitter that Pat has ever created. Do not get me wrong, I love all of her glitters, I think they're all really fun, but when it comes to someone with class and sophistication above all else, I feel like this specific shade just takes the cake. It's ironic that I don't actually know the name of this shade. Astral Gold Allure, that's how it's called. I should probably remember it one of those days. So I'm going to take this shade, I'm going to apply a pretty generous amount of that on my finger, and then I'm going to start layering it over top of the gold. And again, I'm not going to be striving for much perfection when it comes to the positioning of the shade. I'm kind of going all over the place, just covering the gold with this shade and going again for that sort of messy look. Anywho, now I'm going to go back into the Divine Rose 2 palette and take another one of my favorite glitters, and that is this one here. And this glitter is going to go into my inner corners. You don't have to make it this complicated, you could also just put the Divine Rose glitter over top of the gold, but I just wanted to do something fun with the glitter from iconic Illumination because it just screams classy Christmas to me. I'm not going to make it way too complicated. I'm going to take the gold shade again onto my little brush and just apply that on my lower lash line as well. And if you wanted to stop here to leave it very, you know, casual, unstructured and Pat McGrath editorial type look, you could absolutely just stop here and then apply a generous coating of mascara or your falsies if you prefer that. No, nothing wrong with a bit of falsies for Christmas, but I think I'm going to also apply a little bit of liner. It just means I'm going to go back into the iconic Illumination quad and take this beautiful deep brown shade and a little liner brush, such as this one from Zoeva. It's a slanted you know, wing liner brush, and I'm just going to apply the shade from iconic Illumination dry all over my lid. I have applied my mascara. I want to get back on that in a little bit to share a little update with you, but now let's proceed on to the lips. I feel like when it comes to red lipsticks for Christmas, the queen of Christmas red lipsticks is the shade Blood Rush from Pat McGrath, which is a beautiful sort of warm toned red with a bunch of glitter, like not glitter but like golden shimmer in it. It's a very elegant formula. This is already really festive, but if you wanted to crank it up a notch and just make it like 10% more festive, you could apply a lip gloss over top of Blood Rush, and to keep it in the same tones, a red with sort of like red golden shimmer in it. I think it's mostly red actually. I will take the lip gloss in Celestial Ruby. I have a little mini of that here, and I will just apply a tiny bit over top of Blood Rush. And of course now we have the options, so let's zoom in. Let me know what you thought about this look, but before we part ways and I wish you a Merry Christmas, I wanted to give you a short little update on some new lash products that I picked up. I mentioned a couple of videos ago that I picked up the Lancome Cils Booster XL lash primer, and together with that the Monsieur Big mascara from Lancome. For the longest time I have been very loyal in terms of lash primer to my Estee Lauder Little Black Primer. Now I found out apparently that I have a backup of this in my drawers, and I wanted to test both of them out at the same time because I don't feel like the Lancome booster thing is the same thing as the lash primer from Estee Lauder. I feel like they are formula-wise quite different from each other. So I have now tried this mascara with the Monsieur Big mascara. I've also tried it with my usual Holy Grail mascara, which is the Extra Sculpt from Kiko. And I cannot for the life of me get my lashes to hold a curl when I use this. So if I use this mascara and I don't let it dry all the way down and I apply mascara over top of that, my mascara just kind of like wets my lashes and they go right back down, to the point where it doesn't really look like I've used a lash curler. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to give this a try when I wait a little bit. So I applied the lash primer, then I waited a little bit and I applied the mascara. But I felt like at that point, and exactly why I never want to wait with these sort of products, my lashes had become quite stiff and the mascara just wasn't applying really well. And in the end what happened is that the mascara melted the primer underneath, and again my lashes just drooped. I don't know what this does for sure is that it makes your lashes thicker, so you definitely get more volume with your lashes, but you don't really get so much of like length, and I definitely cannot get my lashes to hold a curl with this product. So I don't know how to make it work in the same way that the Little Black Primer works for me, because I've used this one for years. It's sort of the same idea, but I feel like the product does something completely different. It has this very, very thin little wand. The actual product is a very dark color, so you cannot see it. This one is white, so you can immediately see it onto your lashes when you apply it, which is already something that really throws me off. But this applies kind of thick, almost like an actual mascara, whereas this applies very sheerly. And what it does is that it kind of like stiffens your lashes in a way before you apply your mascara, so it doesn't do much, I feel like, for volume. However, if you don't wait it to be fully dry and you apply a mascara over top of that, it kind of you can kind of build the mascara over that to give yourself super much length. And I think if you have volumizing mascara, also volume, to the point where if you have your lash primer and your mascara in that sweet spot where they are not too dried out, but they're also not too much in the beginning of their life cycle where they're a little bit too liquid, you can give yourself false lash effect. Now, what I will say about the mascara though, the Monsieur Big mascara, this is an impressive mascara. I have used it a couple of times now, and I feel like it will like get to that sweet spot where in combination with my Estee Lauder primer it will really give me that false lash effect, and I cannot wait for that. It's very black, it has a very pleasant smooth formula to it. It's not yet at the sweet spot where it really applies with a lot of like volume and a full-on false lash effect, but I know with these types of mascaras that you have to give it a few weeks before they have reached, you know, their optimum. I'm also not quite sure that in the end I'm digging the look together with the winged liner. I think it's nice, but I almost wish I hadn't put the liner and like kept it really runway, because I think on the runway they probably wouldn't have bothered with the wing, and they would have just kept that like very shiny lid with maybe even not that much mascara on it. So I almost feel like I ruined the look by doing the wing. So I would say if you want the full-on editorial experience, maybe just skip the wing liner. And I think this concludes all of my ramblings for today and for this pet pairing video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below. I wish you a very Merry Christmas, hopefully a better one than the one that we're having here, because we're kind of in home prison again. We are in almost full-on lockdown. We can still visit family and friends, so we are going to go to family for Christmas Day, but we can't do pretty much anything else. Everything else is closed. So I hope that wherever you are, life is a bit more fun. But either way, have a really good time with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones, celebrating Christmas, and we shall see each other again in my next video. Bye!